I survived 100 days in hardcore Better Minecraft. You guys really enjoyed the first season of my Better Minecraft series, so we're back in a new world. If you haven't heard of Better Minecraft yet, it's a mod pack that adds tons of features to Minecraft while still staying really similar to the original game. In these 100 days, I adventure through a bunch of new structures, build my starter house, and fight some of the most challenging bosses I've ever had to face. Huge thank you to Sharky for making this amazing mod pack, and if you guys want to see a part 2 to this series, leave a like. If we can get to 45,000 likes, I'll upload 200 days. Anyways, without further ado, everybody, grab your favorite snacks, relax, and enjoy as I try to survive 100 days in hardcore Better Minecraft. Starting out, I was really excited to be back for a new episode of Better Minecraft Hardcore. Okay, a new world. I'm really excited. What is that, a squirrel? As I got up to the top of the mountain, I found a village here, which was the perfect start to our new world. I mingled with the villagers, which were named Nafo Keegley, the beekeeper, and Queen Lamota. I don't know. I don't know if I pronounced this correctly. I found a waystone in the village, which was really nice to see. I would be able to use these to teleport to other waystones all around the world. I then checked my inventory out, and this thing looked awesome. I love the glass feature behind the character, and there were a lot of new item slots to fill up, so that's really exciting. I finally looked down at my inventory and saw that I had a quest book and Biomepedia, which I check out more later. I used the roughly enough items mod that lets you look through all the items in the mod pack, and there were a lot, 212 rows in fact, so I'm really excited to explore everything in this mod pack. Anyways, I also have a map in this pack and a mini map as well, which I turn on later. It's really helpful, so I'm glad that it's in this pack. I humbly borrowed a yellow bed and ventured further to find this interesting building, which contains some crates with basic loot. I got raw salmon and an egg, as well as tomato seeds. I also saw meat and a knife planted into wood, which I picked up. I also found this stuff that looked like ladders on the wall, and it turned out to be rope, which was good to know. I continued on to venture into a few houses. One of them had a bunch of apples and an onion. I saw this little baby villager, which was really cute. And after that, I finally started grabbing some wood. I made a pickaxe and mined cobblestone from the edges of the houses to make a full set of stone tools. I made a hoe as well so that I could collect up all of the hay in the village. And once I was done with that, I checked out a bit more of the village, found a library, which gave me some books. I crafted myself a bunch of wheat and bread from the hay I had gathered. And with that, I left the village and was ready to set out on a journey in hopes of finding a place to build my home. I found this interesting chicken, which I thought was strange because it looked like it had a tint from the Ender. Thinking that this was like an Ender chicken disguised or something, I took it out, but it was just a regular chicken, so I felt kind of bad about that. I saw the building and volcano I'd seen on the map before, so I started approaching them, and I saw a little raft beside them as well. The first thing I approached was the house, and on the inside I found a fish man, just like in my roguelike adventures and Dungeons 100 Days. So I quickly took him out, and the loot here mainly consisted of raw fish. I also noticed I got a broken spawner when I broke the spawner here, meaning that you could recreate spawners in this pack, which I really like and would like to do in the future. I hopped right back into my boat and headed to the raft. When I got to it, it didn't seem to have anything in it, so I started heading towards the volcano. But as I was doing that, I noticed another ship that I couldn't help but approach. And as I made it on board, I found two villagers here. It was a nice little fisher boat. It was nighttime by this point, so I quickly slept and proceeded to borrow some of the fish from this ship. Look, I protect villagers all the time. I totally deserve this. Anyways, I finally boated to the volcano and saw that there was a lone villager sitting here. Before I could approach him though, I thought I saw iron on the floor, and when I mined it up, I got a pebble, which I'm not sure what it's used for. Not only that, but I found a seashell on the floor, which could be used to craft bone meal. Pretty cool. I approached the villager and found out that his name was Hazel Bailiff. I ventured to the top of this volcanic island, and as you'd expect, there was lava on the inside, but nothing more. So I headed out, unfortunately leaving Hazel to his own future. Hopefully he would survive. I found some sugarcane, which I grabbed right up, and this would be important for a level 30 enchanting table. I also found this palm tree with with coconut falling from it, which I thought was very nice. As I continued to travel, the beauty in this world was not lacking. The shaders and additions of tons of new biomes and items added so much to the visual aspect of this game. I saw this interesting little structure in the distance, and when I came up to it, I realized that it was just a well and didn't have anything inside of it. I ran forward for a bit more and then found an area that could be perfect for our home. This is pretty unique, I'd say, and I think it'll do the trick. Look at that. That looks really beautiful. This place was covered with new birch trees and rainbow eucalyptus trees, and I really liked the idea of building my first house on the center island. With the location decided upon, I got to chopping trees for wood. These trees were really tall, so chopping them down was no easy feat. Better Minecraft usually has a mod that lets you destroy trees in one hit, but I figured that that was way too overpowered, so I stuck to the vanilla version of chopping trees down. With some trees chopped, I had enough wood to craft chests and placed a few birch chests down. At this time, I finally took a moment to check out the Biomepedia. There was a lot to read through and a lot to explore. I also checked out the quest book, which took me through a short tutorial, and I got rewards along the way. One of those was a charm of life, which I equipped, and I had no idea what it was used for at the time, but you guys will find out later. I completed reading the tutorial, and there were a lot more quests ahead of me, including defeating a lot of new bosses and creatures. I found out that there were plushies in this mod pack, which was pretty funny, and I would like to collect all of them in the future. How many plushies are there? Oh my god! That's so amazing. Panda plushie. I need to get one. Slime plushie is very cute. Now, with a location set for my home, it was time to level up my gear. Before heading out to mine, I went to the map and marked a waypoint for my home, which would let me easily find my way back. I saw what seemed to be a massive cave entrance nearby. And as I was swimming over, I noticed that my character looked really cool in this mod pack. I looked 3D and I really liked my new skin. Anyways, I made it to the cave and I could see a lot of coal around it, which I definitely needed. I mined a few veins and made sure to make torches so that I could see everything going on around me. As I made my way further down the cave, I found this interesting substance called lichen moss and also a bowl lichen, which seemed to be a mushroom. There was one opening in this cave that I slowly made my way into. A couple of skeletons and I could easily die here, so I had to be really careful. I progressed through the cave and soon found iron, which was exactly what I was here for. Lucky for me, this was a huge vein of iron. I continued getting coal as well because I knew that if I made it to the lower levels, there wouldn't be any coal to collect. I found some lapis, and with that, I came to a dead end. So I headed back up, and I probably should have smelted some iron up at this point, but I continued adventuring to find a new cave, and during that, I finally activated my minimap. I soon found this narrow opening, and funny enough, as I progressed through it, it just went deeper and deeper and deeper. I finally stopped to craft a furnace and smelt my iron up, and while I waited on that, I moved forward, but right away I was approached by a zombie and a skeleton, which was not a good combo at this time. I used my iron to craft a shield, leggings, and boots. With that, I had newfound confidence to adventure further. I finally found an opening that was really dark, and there was a skeleton, but using my shield, I was able to successfully block off its shots and take it out. Things did not get easier though, because I was approached by a lot more mobs after that. I even got approached by a baby spider. Yeah, that's right, not a cave spider. There are a lot of new baby mobs in this mod pack, and they are troublesome, but I was able to take it out as well as a lot of other mobs and finally got to mining. I was soon able to craft myself all the other pieces of iron gear that I needed. I continued mining like this and eventually got down to the lower depths where I found some of this silver ore, which didn't seem to have much use to me at the time. I found some redstone and gold as well, and eventually I found my first diamond, which was guarded by a lot of creepers that I turned against each other and defeated them. I also saw saw a baby creeper in the corner stuck because of water, which that was a good thing. And yes, the diamond that I found was indeed an individual diamond, but I was still happy with the find. A lot of glow squids passed out around me, which gave me a good amount of glowing ink sacs and squid meat, which was random but came in handy. As I continued to explore, I came upon this jar, which I broke, and it dropped some antique ink, which is actually useful to me later on. I broke a couple more jars, which dropped amethyst and iron nuggets. These jars are a really nice addition to caving. I continued mining through to day 5, and once I was done, I mined back up to the surface, which felt really refreshing. I set all my iron to smelt and finished making a full set of iron gear. Now that I was situated, I wanted to spend some time adventuring above ground. I found this biome called the prairie, which looked really peaceful, and I found some new sheep variants. Look at these sheep. These are really interesting. These are a lot different. Are they blinking? They're blinking. No way. And look at this. This is really interesting. I then found this abandoned house, and on the inside, it was exactly that. There didn't seem to be any loot here. I then ran into this. Hello, is this like a village? Oh, it's a pillager encampment, isn't it? Okay. Now this is a bit dangerous. If I approach it quite carefully though, I might be able to do something. We got a pumpkin farm. Okay. Let's try to sneak up on these guys. I only see one on the map. Oh, he's definitely not friendly. I'll tell you that much. Let me just bow him back. Oh my goodness. Get away from me. Okay, the water is definitely gonna help me. Got him. Is there a spawner here? Let me break that. I don't know. Don't see a spawner. Might have only been one guy. There was just a bunch of bread and wheat here. Nothing else. That is until I looted the top chest that had an iron sword with Unbreaking 1 and comb cutter, which essentially lets you mine bee-related things faster. As I continued venturing forward, I ran into these ruins, which didn't seem to have anything within them. And soon I found a little village, which was nice to see, and explored around it for a bit. I found this thing, which spouted out what seemed to be XP particles, and when I picked it up, it turned out to be an enchanted basin that gives villagers the occultist profession. I found a waystone down on the mountainside, which was great because it gave me a link back to my home. And moving onwards, I found a couple of interesting things. Hello. Oh. Look at this elephant. Look at that. Look at its trunk. It has it. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. These guys. Hello. Whoa. These guys are crazy. Hi. They're making little trunk noises. Okay, what do we got in here? Oh, aerial affinity. Oh, okay. Bones. That's all good. I just equipped something? What did I just do? Where did that book go? Oh, I placed it down. Oh. Okay. Thank you. I continued looting the rest of this abandoned building, and it ended up being a church. I went inside, and the chest at the front gave me an efficiency 4 book, which was a really good find at this stage of my world. As I left the church, I found more animals. Look at that. Holy, these are so cool. Oh man, all these animals are so cool. Unbelievable. Oh, hello. Hello. Hey, can I pick you up? Oh, I can't pick you up. Hello. It's lions. I probably should not get close to those. They may kill me very quickly. Oh man, look at that. They look pretty friendly, but I don't trust those faces. Oh, I almost fell into that. Okay, we're gonna continue chugging along here. I found another village after that, which I gladly marked the waystone of. There was also a bunch of haystacks to collect. On the next day, I found another one of these abandoned church buildings, and the loot on the inside did not disappoint because I got an item called a bundle, which lets you store items inside of it, and my inventory was packed, so this was great to have. I found a ruined portal in the distance, and it had some okay golden loot on the inside. I soon found another village, and this one was a bit different. This village was interesting, to say the least. Yes, electricity. Hello. Wait, can I pick this up? Oh, that counted as me hitting it. Oh, it's alive. Oh, okay. Wait, I feel like... Oh, the alchemist. Oh, this guy monitors this stuff. I'm gonna steal your soul. I'm gonna steal your netherware and your soul sand, my friend. Alchemist table. That's cool. Chest candles. It's a mini iron golem. Advanced emergency machine. Okay, I won't be messing with that. I left content and found another ruined portal that was bigger this time. I got the golden blocks here, or at least one of them, and continued onward. I was too tempted to get close up to the lions this time, and I found out that they were friendly. They didn't attack me at all. After that, I used my waystone to teleport home and used the wrong teleport at first, but figured it out afterwards. I returned home successfully, dropped off all my loot, and the next step was to build a house. I began by leveling out all of the ground on the main island. There wasn't too much clearing I had to do, but I did make a diamond shovel because it was inexpensive and would be worth it in the long run. Soon, I finished clearing everything out and the island was looking smooth. I then chopped down a couple of trees that were too close to the center, and I decided I would keep the rest of the trees bordering the island because it gave it a cool, secluded feeling. Now, mobs were spawning all around the island, so I knew that I needed to light all of the island up. While doing so, I found this block that looked like a liquid, but it was actually just silt that had been rained on, so it turned muddy. I also found fireflies flying around, which was beautiful, and I slept the night off before any more mobs could spawn. I woke up to a zombie trying to kill me, which wasn't the most pleasant way to start a day, but I defeated it. I lit up more of the island in the sunlight and then got sidetracked by a miracle. Oh, it's a rainbow. Are you kidding me? No way. It's a rainbow. I'm so happy about this. Hold on. Oh yeah, let me get a screenshot with that. Is it gone already? Oh. Rainbow's already gone. Well, that was fun. I finished lighting the area up and was now ready to start building. First, I needed to figure out which blocks I wanted to use, which I thought about for a bit. While looking around for inspiration, I figured that I could mix birch and eucalyptus wood together to make a unique and beautiful house. That way I could easily gather the resources for it and it would fit into its surroundings. With that decision made, I got to chopping trees. Interestingly, breaking into the inside of the eucalyptus tree gave me a different texture of wood. Towards the top, I did find the normal log texture though, so that was good. While I was chopping more trees on the next day, I ran into this. Look at that. Hello. Are you kidding me? That's like a Trojan horse. That's what just happened. They can float over water? What is happening? I was ambushed by the skeleton horsemen. All of these guys fell into the water, which made it easier to survive and isolate them one by one. One of the skeletons got isolated outside of the water, and with some crit hits, I was able to take it out. It dropped a Protection 1 helmet, which I equipped, and then moved on to fighting the second horseman. As long as I kept my shield up, I stayed safe, and with a couple of hits, I was able to take it out. It also dropped a Protection 1 helmet, so I would be able to combine this with my other helmet later. With that, I approached the final horseman and took him out. I kept the undead horses alive because I would be able to tame them later. I crafted an anvil, and using that, I put efficiency 4 on my axe, combined my 2 protection 1 helmets, and repaired it. I also put sharpness 2 on my unbreaking sword. With all of that done, I got back to chopping trees, and on day 12, I was ready to start working on the house. I began by building the outline pillars with birch logs, and I then started working on building a ground level outline. However, I was struggling with the eucalyptus logs I had gotten. This stuff was placing completely randomly, and I did not like it. I was able to make it look nicer on the outside, and then I came to the decision to strip all of the logs, which I actually really liked, and decided I would keep. I was then clearing out my inventory when I made a little friend. Oh, hello, duck. You like bread? Yes, you do. Is it my pet now? No, wait, can I make it sit? Cuteness overload, indeed. Wait, I can't make it sit? I can pet it though. Aw. Oh. That was really cute. I didn't have a name tag, so I couldn't name it, but I knew I made a friend in this world. Now, I needed more iron to repair my axe, so I decided I would go adventuring in search of resources. Before that, though, I noticed that I had some quest rewards, which I collected, and one of them was this charged ender pearl. This thing was crazy. Later on, I even ended up putting it away because I want to know your guys' opinion on if I should even have something like this in the series. So please do let me know based off what you see. Anyways, I continued on to begin my search. The charged ender pearl made it much easier to travel at a quick rate, and I didn't take damage upon falling. On the next day, I found this little structure, which I approached, and there seemed to just be a spawner in here and nothing else. While I was checking that out, I right-clicked a stone brick by accident, and it cracked it while dropping an individual stone brick, which was unexpected. I dug down and there wasn't anything underneath, so I decided to break the spawner and continue on my way. While I continued venturing on, I saw these huge spruce trees that looked crazy. I soon approached another one of these spawner structures, which I decided not to break for now and mark the coordinates of. I also ran into these purple trees in a biome called the Jacaranda Forest. I broke off a log from a tree and checked out what its planks looked like, and they had a very brick-like texture. As I ran through a snowy biome, I started getting affected by the cold, and my hearts were freezing up. This was not something I expected to face at all, and rushed to get out of the cold weather. With that, I started warming up for the time being, and I was safe for now. Soon, I came up to this structure. This is looking like it's some dungeon. Look at that, that's so cool. Look at that orange mushroom. We all lift together. Advancement made. Okay, this guy has a shovel. Let's see how fighting him goes. Okay, not bad. My shield's almost broken, I just realized, but... Oh, and I'm getting attacked from behind, which is not good. Okay, hold on. We gotta be careful here. These guys take a lot of damage and do not die. As I made my way further into this mysterious mushroom-filled building, I was met with skeletons. These guys were not normal, however, as they were in full armor and had little mushrooms on top of their heads, which was pretty funny. I was able to take them out though and wanted to adventure further. However, my shield was extremely close to breaking and I knew that progressing without a shield would be very dangerous. So I headed out in search of a place to mine when I ran into this guy. Hello? Hello? Are you running away from me? Aw, look at this guy. Hi, I'm not gonna kill you, buddy. We're friends, okay? I'd feed you if you like to eat something that I had, like a golden apple. You want this? The deer did not want my golden apple. I looted the ruined portal, and it gave me enough iron to make a shield. With that, I had newfound confidence in approaching this building, which I definitely shouldn't have had. I slept off the night to make things a bit safer for me, but right on the next day, I was attacked by a baby zombie. Baby zombies are my nightmare. I was doing really good until I got attacked from behind and my hearts dropped to 2. Oh my goodness. Run. Run. Okay, I'm not adventuring. I'm done. Yeah, there was no way I was going back there until I had better gear. I decided I would go mining, so I began digging down. I was able to find a cave opening soon enough and carefully ender pearled down. The cavern was not safe at all, but I was able to use the water near me to my advantage and took out the mobs slowly. Things got pretty dangerous when I was approached by a baby spider and a skeleton, so I was forced to ender pearl away from them. I searched for a new cave system that would be a bit safer. I managed to find one and got to mining ores. I ran into a goblin trader while down here who actually had some really good trades, like an emerald for an ender pearl and raw iron for 2 iron ingots, which was really good and landed me 36 iron ingots, easy as that. I continued mining, getting all kinds of ores into the following day. However, I was still struggling to find any diamonds. Finally, towards the end of day 15, I found a small patch which I was really happy about. But still, I had a lot of work to do. I ran into Skulk, but a warden was not something I was ready to face, so I remained extremely careful. On the next day, I entered a little underwater cave section and I found some diamonds. It turns out that these underwater caves have a lot of ores in them, so moving forward, I realized I should always enter them. Eventually, I returned to the surface, only with 5 diamonds in hand, but I did manage to get a bunch of other ores. I saw these cherub blossom trees right away, which made for a beautiful forest. While getting back home, I ran into these friendly creatures. It's giraffes. Oh my goodness. Hi, guys. Hi. Oh, you're so cool. Hi. It's so funny. Look at its long neck. Hello, buddy. I was very happy to have found giraffes. I ended up finding a rhino, which I thought could be the desert rhino that I needed to defeat as a part of my quest line. I turned on my tooltip, and when I looked at it, it seemed to just be a regular rhino. To make sure that I wasn't missing out on my quest, however, I defeated it, and it unfortunately turned out just to be a regular rhino. May it rest in peace. As I continued adventuring, I ended up running into this. this. Whoa, whoa, look at this. Is this all a cave? Oh my goodness. This is a cave opening. Whoa, that's so cool. Oh, that is unbelievable. Look at this. It's like I found the crater of the earth. This would be a really, really cool base. Take a screenshot of that. I had found an incredible cave, and I marked down the coordinates in case I wanted to make it into a project later on. I would be glad to see any suggestions from you guys as to what I could do with it, so make sure to leave your comments below. I soon found a village, which was great because I could use a waystone to teleport back home. It was very nice to be back in my home sweet home. By this point, I had collected 4 pieces of obsidian, so I crafted an enchanting table and enchanted all of my gear with level 1 enchants just to become a little bit stronger. I set all of my iron to smelt, and after that got back to work on the house. I noticed that the eucalyptus logs I was using looked weird on the inside. Using a different variant, however, I was able to make it look the same all over. Something that I didn't mention is whenever I would strip the logs, I got pieces of bark which can be used to make paper, so that was a cool little addition. I created a little outline at the front of the base which I filled in with eucalyptus logs, and it looked really cool. I then spent more time chopping trees down, and from what I realized, the normal eucalyptus logs were at the top of the tree only. I bone mealed another one of these and quickly learned that these 4 wide trees will always have the weird log type in the middle of them, so I would not want to mine them anymore. I also broke my efficiency 4 axe. I saw it coming. Anyways, I made a new one, and then I continued chopping down eucalyptus wood into the next day, but this time bone mealed the trees in a row so that they would only have the regular logs. This worked perfectly, and with a row of trees broken, I was ready to get back to outlining the base. I stripped all of the logs and made a diamond axe while doing so because I knew I would have a lot more chopping to do. You guys can't get mad at me, okay? I was just trying to finish this home faster. The outline was looking pretty good. I would need to add height and different variations to the sides of the walls, but I liked the colors and the configuration of the house so far. I added in a little window frame and started building up the walls. I decided to fill in the walls with birch planks, which worked really well. For the side walls, I decided I would fully fill them in with eucalyptus logs and figured this would add some nice variation to the build. I then had the idea to strip all of the logs, which was actually perfect because it made them look a lot simpler and the walls fit very well with each other. Because a lot of the eucalyptus wood I collected was unusable, I had to go back to farming more of it up. I know, jumping a lot between collecting resources and building, but I did not know that I would need this many materials to work on this house. Eventually, I got back to building and I added a little pop-out square to the side of the base. This would give the base more variety and I could turn this room into something unique. I continued my work on the walls and came out with a very nice layout. There was still a lot of work to do, but I was happy with the progress I had made. I turned all of the weird looking logs into planks, which I would need, and I ended up making changes to one of the walls in which I removed the eucalyptus and replaced it with birch planks because that way it felt a lot more balanced. I took out the bottom outline as well, which was just eucalyptus logs, and changed it to fit the block it was under. After that, I was back to chopping down more trees. Yeah, I could probably get better at planning builds. I awoke on day 23 to a rainbow, which was a nice sight, and continued on with my work cutting down trees. I finished up the additional box I added, and then added a rectangle to another side of the base, which I was planning to just add as another section of the house, but then came to the idea of making it a little garden area. I had a lot more to play around with on the outside of the house, but I took a pause on that for now and started working on the flooring of the first level. I dug out all of the grass on the inside and then had the job of filling everything in. I started out by building an outline of rainbow eucalyptus planks. I really liked how this looked, and I think it fit really well with the rest of the base. Now I needed to figure out what to fill this in with. My first attempt was to try regular stone. Of course, this did not fit very well, so I did some searching for something else. I found that there were these cobblestone bricks, which I thought were perfect. I crafted them up and placed them down, and while I could see these bricks working with the rest of the base, I didn't really think they fit the vibe of it because they were a bit too solid looking. The next block I found out about was this stuff called rocky stone, which is created by mixing stone and cobblestone, and I was able to make a lot of this stuff and fill in a decent chunk of the base. And the rockstone looked pretty good. It was a lighter shade, making it fit in with the birch and eucalyptus. I decided I would use it, so I needed to get more stone and cobblestone and headed out to go mining. I decided I would use this as a chance to make a little mine shaft for myself, and so I continued mining a 2-wide staircase downwards. There were a lot of different block variations I kept running into while doing this, which made it a bit harder to consistently get stone, but nevertheless, by the next day, I had all of the stone and cobblestone I needed to create a bunch of rocky stone and filled in the flooring. I built up a staircase to what would be the second floor and filled in the ceiling with eucalyptus slabs. I then outlined the floor for the second level, and from there I would be ready to begin working on another floor. Before that though, I decided that it was time to pursue getting better gear, resources, and tools so I could get things done faster. I enchanted all of my gear, crafted some arrows, and put them into this quiver that I had gotten from a skeleton I had defeated before, and this item just lets you easily store all of your arrows in one slot. Now, on the topic of inventory space, I wanted to craft a backpack. For that, I needed leather, so I headed out and hunted some cows, even though I didn't want to. And with 8 leather, I was able to create a backpack. I then turned it into a plated backpack with iron and a gilded backpack with gold. The next level was a bejeweled backpack, but I would need to wait to have enough materials to craft that. I opened it using the keybind B, and it gave me 3 more rows of inventory. I was now ready to go adventuring. I soon came across an illager encampment, and using my ender pearl, I was able to teleport to the top of it pretty quickly. From there, I had to be very careful with these pillagers and hold my shield up constantly. I was able to approach them and take them down one by one, and soon enough, I had cleared out the entire encampment. The chest at the top was filled with some basic loot, and with that looted, I headed out. I soon ran into this very strange biome called the White Mangrove Marshes. Getting through here was very difficult because it was just filled with trees, water, and vines, and the trees were very large. Eventually, I got out of here and ran through the alum fields biome, in which I saw this little tower. I mined up the cobblestone below it to see if I could find anything underneath, but there didn't seem to be anything there. So I ender pearled up to the top of the tower, and here I found some living supplies and a chest full of potatoes. There wasn't much else, so I headed out and I ran through a biome called the prairie, which was filled with crops that looked like wheat. As I was traveling, I saw this interesting beach area on the map. It seemed to be completely secluded by mountains, so I ender pearled up, and on the inside, I found this little tropical pond that was completely isolated from everything around it. I figure that in the future, I can definitely build some type of getaway resort up here. So let me know what you guys think, and if you guys have any suggestions. As I went over to the other side of the mountain, however, I found this. Look at those. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we got some enemies around here. This is definitely not a safe place. People are strange. Find an illager campsite. Whoa, this is really, really cool. Let's see what's going on here. I like your guys' choice of color. Oh my goodness. I fought the pillagers from this little spot that I had dug out for myself, and it worked really well. After I cleared everyone out, I made my way inside by breaking a skeleton head, which wasn't very assuring, but the chest on the inside had some pretty good loot, including enchanted gear and a fire aspect 1 sword. I headed back outside, and there was definitely no shortage of pillagers here. I found some gold ore lying around and a crate that had a bunch of farm supplies. I looted the chest inside, and this one also had enchanted iron gear, as well as the Encyclopedia of Eden, which is a guidebook for a new dimension in this mod pack called Eden Ring. That's a place I would definitely like to visit and conquer in the future. Making my way outside, I was approached by a ton more pillagers, which were harder to handle because they weren't contained. They ended up shooting each other a lot though, so I was able to come down and take the rest of them out easily. I found some more farm loot in barrels and found a Protection 2 Respiration 1 helmet in a chest, which was perfect because mine was running really low on durability and I needed a new one. I continued progressing through the camp, and down low I noticed that there were Vindicators, which were a lot more dangerous, so I took them out from a range. There were a lot more pillagers, and I mistakenly got hit down to them, which was extremely dangerous. Fortunately though, I was able to run off and ender pearl back up. However, I ended up getting knocked down again, so I had to make a run for it. Moving forward, I took out each pillager that came my way. It was definitely close, but I was mostly prepared for anything they would throw at me. Underneath the hill, I found this little campfire section in the dark, which was cool, and I used one of the anvils here to combine my fire aspect and sharpness swords together. I also found this chest with campfires and blocks of coal around it, which was pretty nice, and the loot of the chest itself was similar to the other chests in the camp. I found protection 2 leggings, which I gladly took. I also checked out the buffalo looking cows, which turned out to be friendly, which I didn't think there would be, and there was a zombie villager locked in a cage here, but I didn't really want to deal with transforming yet. With that, I was done looting the pillager camp and headed out. I found these little cute onion looking things that were jumping around, and I thought they were very funny. Moving forward, I found this interesting tent and I approached the inside. It seemed to be really safe. In fact, the chest inside was packed with ores, and it had an enchanted golden moss clump, which seemed to be similar to an enchanted golden apple. It also contained a globe, which is a cool little collector's item you can rarely find in this mod pack. There wasn't much else here, so I headed out, but I was very happy with that find. I then ran into this cabin in the woods, which was a great find, but I unfortunately started a raid because I had the bad omen effect. As I made my way inside, I ended up getting attacked by an illusioner. Fighting the illusioner was very confusing, but I was able to set it on fire, and with that, I took it down. While the next wave of the raid spawned, I quickly headed inside of the house, and the chest there had a power 3 flame 1 bow. I headed up the stairs that led to the attic, and the barrels here gave me some emeralds and books. With all that looted, I headed back out, and as I tried to leave, I was attacked by the raid. But running and jumping, I was able to get away. I was not having any shortage of exploration because soon enough, I found this interesting wooden structure. It turned out to essentially be a jungle temple, so I broke into the secret compartment that was on the other side of the wall, and the chest inside gave me a bunch of iron, gold, and diamond horse armor. The other chest gave me a diamond, a protection 3 book, and more diamond horse armor, as well as iron. On the other side of the temple, I figured there would be another chest, so I broke through the wooden minecart, and sure enough, on the other side, there was a chest with a dispenser over top of it, which I broke, and the chest gave me more gold and iron. With that, I headed out of the temple. I found a hot air balloon in the sky, which I was hesitant to go up to at first, but my curiosity got the best of me, and I couldn't help myself but to go up. And when I got to the top, which took me over a stack of blocks, I was not disappointed. I've made it. Oh, whoa, wait, this is actually pretty good stuff. Sharpness 3, protection 3. I mean, that already made it pretty worth it, so that was good. Whoop, pearl back down. I continued traveling and soon ran into this. Oh, okay. I have found a building. What is this? Okay. Finally, I found something. Oh my god, look at this. Oh my goodness. That's amazing. I was very close to running out of food with 4 bread remaining, so I had to go hunting some animals, which I didn't really want to do, but it had to be done. I replaced all of my gear with fresh pieces and ran towards the mysterious structure. I got the achievement, the lighthouse. I slowly made my way inside and up a ladder and came up to a floor that had a lot of bookshelves, which I mined up, but seemingly nothing more. As I went up the ladder to the next floor, I found a room that had a bunch of note blocks as well as a furnace. After looking around here, I went up the stairs to the next level, still cautious of potential monsters, where I found a chest with some measly loot. There was one more ladder that I went up, and here there was a bunch of redstone. I pressed a button that was on the ground, and it started lighting up all of the redstone lamps around me. I found an opening to a balcony and watched as the lights carried around in a circle. I then interpearled down and watched the tower in all of its glory from a distance. It was very cool. I continued onwards and found another one of these watchtowers, which I looted, and got a few emeralds from it. I then ran into these glowing trees, which I had grown in our garden in the first Better Minecraft series. I got the saplings from both trees because they were a rare find. And this took a while, actually. I ran through this biome that definitely looks like it belonged in the Nether, and I also ran into these little red birds that were really cute. I soon ran into a village and realized that adventuring most definitely didn't bring me that much loot. However, it was a lot of fun and was only a glimpse of what this mod pack had to offer. I headed for home, but as I was on my way, I ran into these signs. Tracing the signs' directions, I realized that I had passed by a jungle temple earlier on, so I headed over and went inside. But I soon ran into a spawner and didn't have any torches, so I decided I would return later. I got back home and cleared out my inventory. I placed down my globe, which is a really nice item. But to make it even more rare and unique, I combined it with the antique ink I had gotten from one of the jars in the caves, and I got this sepia globe, which was completely decolored and a bit strange, but I liked it because of how uncommon it was. I headed back to the temple, and with torches was now confident in exploring it. I broke the spawner at the bottom and slowly lurked through the halls, within which I instantly found a tripwire trap, which I fortunately didn't fall for. As I made my way up some stairs, I found another spawner, which I broke, and then saw this button. I didn't trust it, however, so I dug into the wall and ended up tracing the redstone that led up to it. I discovered more parts of the temple as I was doing this and got jump scared by a husk while doing this. Eventually, I found this piston door, and when I went to the other side of it, I found a bunker with 2 double chests covered in water. I was very cautious and figured these were trapped, but they didn't have anything around them. With that, I was safe to loot them, and the first chest gave me a bunch of gold, but the second one, which it looked like I'm the one who filled it up, but I didn't, had an enchanted golden moss clump, as well as a heart of the sea, both of which were great finds. I checked around to see if this temple had any other loot, but other than a chest with some basic loot, there was nothing else here. I headed back home and I got back to chopping trees again. I then went back to mining from days 35 to 37, and I did have some luck. In fact, I found a vein of 11 diamonds in an underwater cave. This is why you should definitely explore these whenever you can. I ended up finding a spawner as well and found a golden apple here. I then found this ore, which I couldn't break with my iron pickaxe, and given that I had 11 newfound diamonds, I figured I would make a diamond pickaxe since I needed one anyways. Even this, however, did not allow me to break the ore, and I believe it was an ore called salt ore, which I didn't really need at this time anyways, so I moved on. I found another 3 diamonds, which compensated me right back, and on the next day, a skeleton that I defeated dropped this soul star, which can be used to summon a boss in the future. I was happy with the mining I had done over the last few days, so I headed back up to the surface. When I got back home, I decided I would make a level 30 enchanting table, and the thing is that it perfectly fit into the little quadrant that I added to the side of the house. With the table built, I socketed in my pickaxe to see what I could get, and it was fortune 2. Not that bad, but I ended up also getting efficiency 4 and unbreaking 3 on it, which was just the perfect first enchantment. With that done, I got back to working on the base, and I filled in the floor on the 2nd level. I then started building up the walls to the 2nd level and started filling them in from there. I kept the design the same as it was in the first half, and as I was looking at my inventory, I noticed that there was a seasons calendar which showed what season it was. So it was good to know that there are seasons in this mod pack. Hopefully, it wouldn't affect my house. I continued with my work, which was a very long process, and this continued into the night. I took the darkness as a chance to light the house up and more of the island as well. I needed more bones for bone meal, so I hunted for skeletons. I continued hunting all throughout the night into the morning of the next day. With that, guess what I did? Yep, I got back to chopping trees. I continued this throughout most of the day and then got back to building. Building continued into day 40, and once I was done with the walls of the 2nd floor, I added this new rectangular section to the base. I finished the framework of the build, and there was a tree right next to it, so I purled up to it and took it down. I didn't like the design that I came out with at first, but I then stripped the logs, and I was more so okay with this result. I started adding a layer of eucalyptus slabs to see what it would look like. I liked how it was looking, but the base itself was looking a bit flat and didn't have dimension to it. So I needed to figure that out. I came to the idea of literally cutting out one of the corners of the house, and that's what I ended up doing. I added a new pillar and then removed the section of the wall that was in front of it. Once I was done with that, I added slabs around the edges and then started thinking about what I wanted to fill the inner walls in with. I settled on glass, and more particularly purple stained glass. I also changed out the flooring here to birch planks, which I think looked a lot better. I went out and collected sand, which carried on into day 42. I smelted all the sand up, and while that was in the works, I wanted to get purple dye. I quickly learned that the flowers outside of my base did not provide any, so my plan was to head to the pillager campsite we found earlier and get purple dye there. While traveling, I ended up finding these amaranth fields, which contained a lot of flowers, including purple amaranths, and this was exactly what I needed. I made sure to feed and pet another duck when I returned home because it was a must, and then I crafted my purple stained glass. I transformed it into panes and got to filling the walls in. I topped them off with slabs, and this corner section was really good. It added a lot of dimension to the base. I also got the idea to pop out the left side of the front by one, and I followed through with it. So I broke out this side, which was sad, but it had to be done, and then I started building the wall up, which took some work and went well. But my computer ended up crashing, and I lost footage all the way until day 47. Yeah, I was pretty sad about that, but you guys didn't miss too much. I ended up popping the wall out and it looked great. I don't know why I didn't show more of it here, but you'll see it more later. Anyways, the new segment I had been working on was the garden. Now, I don't want to talk about it, okay? It was not going great. I had bone mealed the crops and added some flowers and played around with adding purple leaves as well as windows to the wall. I was still trying to figure it out. I added slabs to the top of the windows and removed most of the leaves, but it still looked strange. Until I came to a realization. Kind of looks like eyes. Huh. What if I just emulate my face? I don't know, it's not the worst idea. If I just put a nose here? This was an interesting idea, and you know what? I liked it. I took out some soapstone for my nose, and for my eyes, I needed yellow, orange, and white dye. I collected the dyes I needed and crafted stained glass. While doing so, I found out you can craft aquariums. That's so nice. You can probably put fish in there. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. I love that. This was a really nice feature. I really liked it. I added a nose with the soapstone, which looked okay. I switched out the glass to make it look like my eyes, and once I was done doing that, I could definitely find similarities to my character. I mean, look at this. That's pretty good. I added purple leaves to the wall again and had to farm another one of these jacaranda trees, which it's actually good I did because this time I can show you what that process looked like. Once I had enough leaves, I tried to emulate the rest of my face and filled it in some more, and this is what I came out with. You know what? It's not a Picasso painting, but at least it was unique and I put in the effort. I'm glad I made this. If you guys have any suggestions, please have some suggestions. Leave them in the comments below. Also, if you want to make your own version of this and share it, feel free to join my Discord server. The link's in the description, and you can share your builds there. Now I wanted to do some base work on the inside, and the first thing I wanted to make was a storage room. I really needed one. I started out by clearing a section of the rocky flooring and replacing it with eucalyptus. From there, I crafted a bunch of chests and found a configuration that worked well within the space. I stacked more chests on top of the ones I had placed, and with that done, I had to spend some time moving my current chests over so that I would have space to finish working on my storage area. Now that I had everything cleared out and the chests placed down for the storage room, I thought about how I wanted to proceed. I placed some eucalyptus stairs going up because I figured I could build a second level. I then placed the ceiling, or also the floor, for the next layer using birch slabs. And guess what, everyone? After that, I chopped down more trees because I was out of wood again. Yeah, I know, you guys love it. Things went a bit wrong, however, when I broke a beehive. Yeah, I got stung and it was not pleasant. I had to defeat the perpetrating bees, and then I got back chopping trees again. This continued on for the next 10 days. No, I'm kidding. Fortunately, by the morning of the next day, I was done with that. For now, at least. I got back to working on the storage. The first thing I did was place birch pillars, and I also added stairs to the other side of the storage. I was trying to figure out what block I wanted to use to cover the wall here. I tried using birch logs and then stripped them, and you know what? It looked pretty good, actually. I added a layer of stairs bordering the chests, and it was looking smooth. I then added mini pillars of birch logs to separate out each double chest, and that was looking really great. Then I added 2 layers of double chests on the second floor of the storage. I was adding eucalyptus eucalyptus pillars between the chests and then decided to move the chest back one so that I would have more space here. This was definitely a good decision. It felt a lot less cramped. I changed the birch logs into eucalyptus logs, which made the storage look more interesting. I then looked to see if there was a big sign variant in this mod pack, and sure enough, you could craft a hanging sign. So I did exactly that and placed it on the side of the pillar, and right after I accidentally placed my sword inside, which it was really cool to know that you can place items in these as well. Anyways, I typed suev's amazing storage here, which I dyed purple and added a glow to. It was looking good, except it was a bit hard to see unless I zoomed in, but you know what? That's a problem I'm not going to worry about. The next thing I did was craft some lanterns and use these to light up areas around the base. These make things look a lot nicer. Now with all that done, it was time to organize. I wanted to use item frames to categorize the chests, and I needed more leather. So I had to go out hunting some animals, which is never very fun. And you know what? I should probably build some farms up in a future episode. Once I was done with all that, I crafted up some item frames and placed them all along the pillars. I then began working on organizing everything. This was a pretty long process, and I did my due diligence with sorting items to their designated chests. And I gotta tell ya, it felt good. Once I was done all this, which took me till day 55 to complete, I wanted to do more work on the inside of the base to make my day-to-day living in this world easier. Before that, looking around, I felt like something needed to change. More specifically, the floor. While the rocky stone did its part, I felt that changing it to birch planks would look better and fit more nicely within the theme. I've gotta say, I was liking the new look a lot more. I started working on my bedroom. I placed 2 beds. I added a bedside table as well, and placed my globe and aquarium on it. I added a temporary section with an anvil and crafting table, which I work more on later. I combined the 2 Protection 2 helmets I had to create a Protection 3 helmet and repaired all of my gear. And with everything done, I wanted to head into the Nether to start adventuring. I started mining out to find lava so that I could get obsidian, and while doing so, a goblin trader approached me. This guy had a plethora of amazing deals, including doubling iron, increasing copper, cobblestone for emeralds, and 1 emerald for 8 sponges, all of which I took. I found a cave eventually, which I made my way down into. I was struggling to find an actual pool of lava here, but eventually managed and scooped up some obsidian. And with that done, I ventured around the cave to see if I could find any more diamonds. While I was looking for those, this crazy thing happened. Emeralds. 61 emerald? Holy moly. That's wait, I just got 60 emeralds from that. I got 60 emerald. I love these vases. Whatever mod adds them, I'm in love. Yeah, that was an insane find. I was not expecting this luck at all. I returned home in the night, which looked amazing. I placed another portal on this island beside my house, which would hopefully prevent any chance of it causing my house to burn down somehow. I was a bit scared to head into the Nether because I didn't have full diamond, I'm not gonna lie. My spawn was a mixed bag. On one end, I was surrounded with lava right off the bat, but on the other hand, I spawned right next to another fortress, which was really nice. The Nether in this mod pack was looking crazy. I decided I would build a little safety box, so I headed back to my house and grabbed more blocks to build it out with. I then built a small cube around the Nether portal, and that way I would be a lot safer when getting in and out of this dimension. Once I was done with that, I was ready to adventure further. Still though, I needed to be very careful. I soon approached my first blaze, which I was able to take down using my shield. Instantly, I was attacked by a wither skeleton, but using my overpowered power 3 flame 1 bow, I took it out quickly. Things slowly started heating up as more blazes attacked me, and I found this Nether biome really difficult to navigate. Look at this stuff. Vines, mushrooms, lava, no shortage of things blocking your path, and I did not trust myself in the Nether yet, so I decided I would head back for now. Don't worry though, I returned later, and it ends up being one of the most challenging things I've ever had to do. I checked out my quest rewards, and I got this lingering potion of fire resistance. I also looked at the quests I had to do, and the first one was to defeat a shaman, which are found in swamps. I searched my map for swamps and found a place that looked like it contained one, so I headed towards it. This was a long trip, and as I traveled, I kept my eyes out for the other bosses I needed to defeat for my quest line, which can be found in some other biomes. As I was traveling, I found these crazy looking trees that I had never seen before. I chopped a log down, and this stuff was called witch hazel. I checked out what the planks looked like, and they looked really nice. I love this tree, and instantly made sure to get a sapling so I could use it for a future build. I admired the beautiful sunset in front of me, and then saw something really interesting, which was a little skull on a mountainside. I came closer, and I don't think that this generation was on accident, because it looked very much like a skull, and I don't think Minecraft can normally generate that type of thing. On the inside, there was even a lava stream flowing, which was just a perfect fit. I was attacked by a baby frozen zombie, which wasn't the best experience, but I took it down, so take that, baby zombie. And I then found this thing, which, honestly, very weird looking animal. Very weird. If this exists in real life, please let me know, because yeah, I have no words. I found this interesting looking zombie with a spear that was like an Iceman, so that was pretty cool. And as I was running, I noticed how beautiful the sky looked. This pack uses complementary shaders, and they're really nice. I ended up running into another one of these illusioner cabins, which I found a power 2 unbreaking bow inside and some night vision potions. The attic had leather and emeralds, so I looted those as well. I defeated the illusioner, which, if you think about it, I came into this guy's home, robbed him, defeated him, and then ran away. Yeah, not the best look for me. I mean, you could also look at it as I'm fighting off villains. That's definitely what happened. Did I then randomly come to the conclusion that I want to go mining for emeralds? Absolutely. Never let anybody predict your next move. So I dug right down, and I found an amethyst cluster, which usually I wouldn't care too much about, but in this mod pack, I needed to defeat a crystal golem for my quest line, so I needed to get lucky and have one spawn inside. I continued mining, and as I did, a goblin trader fell right into lava. I'm sorry, little guy. I eventually found a cave, and I did in fact find an individual diamond, which I turned into 3 thanks to my fortune 2. I then found these weird looking things, which were shards, and it turns out they can be turned into cryo marble, which can then be combined with iron gear to upgrade it. So this was pretty cool stuff. I found a couple more diamonds, which got me to 9, and soon after found some icicles hanging from the ceiling, which was kind of scary. I swam through a frozen lake, which could have made me freeze to death according to my hearts, but I ended up being okay. And I then mined into the sewage system, which was interesting. It had skulls lying around, which wasn't the most comforting thing, but I didn't really end up finding anything here, so I headed out. I found more of the cryo marble shards and then a few more veins of diamonds. I got attacked by a lot of monsters, including this miner zombie that kind of scared me. I got a total of 25 diamonds, and with that, headed for the surface. I headed home, and as I was running about, I found a woodland mansion, which is a very important place for me, as you'll see later, but at this time, I most definitely was not ready to explore it. I soon found a village, and used the waystone here to teleport home. As I returned, I saw my beautiful, fabulous, fantastic self-portrait, which I just loved. It felt good to be back home with a storage system, may I add. Anyways, with my newly collected diamonds, I finally crafted a full set of diamond gear. I enchanted my shovel and sword, both of which got pretty decent enchantments. Now at this point, I decided I would redesign my bedroom because that part of the house wasn't looking as great as I'd like it to. I also wanted to set up some more useful things on the ground level of my base. I started with a smeltery, which I actually really needed. I set up a wall of furnaces, added birch logs to the sides, and also added a crafting bench and anvil. I added the bedroom to the corner, and everything fit really well. I had extra space above the furnaces, so I added a second layer for any other utilities I would want to place. I needed food, so I used my smeltery for the first time and smelted up some raw cod. While I waited for that to smelt, I headed out to do more lumberjacking, but as I did, I noticed the color of the leaves here was changing, so that was very cool. With more wood, I was able to finish up the second layer, which looked great, and with all that done, I headed into the nether to adventure. I was much more confident now that I had diamond gear. While doing that though, I fell straight into a hidden pocket of lava and I could not get out. I had to use an enchanted moss clump, and it fortunately saved me. I started adventuring anyways, and this biome was really hard to get out of. The overview of this place looked crazy, and I found this really interesting looking tree, which I built to. It was called an anchor tree and was green rain on the inside, which was unexpected. I then mined this yellow looking mushroom block, and it gave me a glowstone pile, which could then be used to make glowstone dust, which can then be used to make glowstone. So I thought that was pretty funny. I continued onwards, and things continued to surprise me in the nether. I found these things emitting smoke, which were called smokers. I then found a zombie pigman spawner, and the chest on the inside gave me an enchanted golden apple, which was really good to have at this stage. I then saw this view, which was just amazing. Look at that. As I moved forward, I almost fell into lava again. I collected some logs from a willow tree, and also noticed that it dropped some of these willow torches, which were actually really cool. I found another spawner, which had some decent loot, mainly a name tag and music discs. I was then mining when I ran right into lava, and it almost killed me, but I had my enchanted golden apple, which saved my life. Lava was not being friendly to me on this trip, and it was my fault. After that, I returned back to the fortress near my portal and ran into a Blaze Guardian, which is an upgraded variant of the Blaze and can be quite dangerous. I shot at it from around the corner, and while it deflected a lot of my shots, some of them got through and I was able to defeat it. This also completed one of my quests, so that was great. I got some blaze rods and then returned back home. I collected my quest reward from defeating the Blaze Guardian, from which I got brimstone nectar that can be used to reset nearby boss structures. In this mod pack, there are a lot of bosses to defeat, so this would definitely come in handy. I wanted to pursue completing more of my quests, so I would keep an eye on them, and I headed out to explore more of the overworld and hopefully find some larger structures. And as I was running around, I found this little guy. Oh, it's a baby turtle. Look at it. Look at it. Hello. Hi, buddy. Can I pick it up? Can I put it in a bucket? I can't. It's so cute. On the morning of the next day, I found this pink mansion. This is a really dangerous structure. There were a lot of mobs. I slowly took this chunk of pillagers out, which had a lot of health considering I had sharpness 3 diamond. Eventually, I took them out and carefully entered the building. I was soon approached by one pillager, which then turned into multiple, which then turned into a lot from all directions. This was insane, to say the least. I took the second group of pillagers down and progressed forwards, but then all of a sudden a huge group of vindicators came down and got me down to half a heart. I was practically dead here. I paused the game and planned to reset, which would give me a couple of seconds of invincibility upon loading in, and with that I just had to pray. Okay. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh, there's no archers. Oh my goodness. Blocking the Vindicators off definitely didn't go to plan, but I was barely able to block myself upwards. I carefully mined out with the Vindicators still trailing me and got away. That was an experience. If I wouldn't have gotten that Charm of Life from the quest reward in the beginning, I would have been dead. I soon ran into a new tower that would hopefully be a lot safer than the mansion I just faced. On the outside, I saw a couple of black wolves, which unfortunately didn't have any bones to tame. As I went inside, this building looked fairly safe. I looted the chest in front of me, and it had a golden apple, enchanted book, and coal. Another one had a bunch of emeralds and a diamond hoe, and the last one had books and paper. I made my way up a ladder, and here I met a couple of villagers who were very friendly, especially given the fact that they let me loot their chests. One of the chests had a bunch of music discs, which was a pretty cool find actually, and I also snagged the paintings that were here. I made my way up another floor where there were a bunch more villagers, one of which I accidentally hit. There was a bunch of hay here, and I had a diamond hoe that I looted from before, so I used that to mine it up. There was a chest with some food, and as I broke more hay, I uncovered a barrel with gold. I uncovered the entrance to another floor as well, and this looked mostly the same. However, the barrels that I looted on this floor gave me 6 and then another 6 diamonds, which was absolutely amazing and the best loot I had gotten from any structure so far. That appeared to be it for this amazing house, so I headed out and made sure to cover the hole back up to protect the villagers. I found another one of these watchtowers, and this one had a pretty decently sized pile of ore right beside it, which was actually a great find. I made my way through a Coco Nino meadow biome. I was then running through this forest filled with red and white trees when I came across an angry bear who I had to defeat. I thought I was good until I got approached by another one all of a sudden, but I stayed healthy. I shortly found another one of these these wooden temples, and the loot on the inside was wonderful, with efficiency 4, ores, and 2 protection 3 books. I came across a mine shaft that was sticking out to the surface, but I did not want to adventure underground at the time, so I headed out. As I made my way up a frozen peak, I ran into a snow leopard. I checked to see if it was aggressive, and it was friendly. I tried to feed it fish, but it didn't seem to want any. However, being near, it gave me the buff Leopard Strength 5, which boosts your speed. I did some research and found out that you can tame these guys by using mutton. I headed out to find sheep, but as I did, my game ended up crashing. When I loaded back, it only reset me back to the snow, fortunately, but it also removed my shaders, which I only noticed later on, so you guys are gonna have to deal with no shaders for now. Eventually, I got to a normal biome, and I was almost frozen. Fortunately, I found this campfire structure, which I approached, and it started heating me up. Once I was heated up, I broke the campfires for their coal and chopped down some wood so that I could craft a campfire myself. I hunted the mutton that I needed, and once I had a decent amount, headed back to the leopard, who I was able to tame. In fact, I was able to tame 2 of them. But as I did, I started freezing to death. Fortunately, I had the campfire that I had crafted earlier, and it heated me up. What was amazing was that these leopards were actually loyal to me and followed me around. They did seem to be a bit bugged in how they did so, but they were still cool to have been found nevertheless. Now, I hid a sheep to test if they would attack it, but it didn't work. I believe they are supposed to attack mobs for you, but it's okay. I could deal with not having that. I continued running along, and I found this really fascinating beach segment that looked really cool on the map and in game too. Anyways, adventuring into the next day, I found something amazing. Oh, look at that. What is this? Holy moly, holy moly. This is insane. Wow. What is that? Seashell. This rock formation looked crazy, and I'm really glad I ran into it. I later found a cemetery which had some secret chests hidden throughout it. The loot here was mostly basic, but there were some nice items planted here and there. I found chests hidden in most graves, and I got some fairly decent enchanted books from them. Once I fully looted the cemetery, I made my way out. I found this cool looking house, and as I approached it, I found that there was a Vindicator on the inside, so I carefully broke in and defeated him from range. I headed in and looted the area. One of the barrels had rabbit hide, which is actually pretty hard to get, so that was a decent find. I headed up a ladder, and there was another floor with a chest that contained some loot as well. That was about it for this house, so I headed out and ventured forward. I ended up finding a woodland mansion with a village right next to it, which was a very good find, and the mansion looked really interesting. I teleported using the waystone and picked up the one I usually use to get home, since I could just place it right inside of my house. And at this point, I turned my shaders back on. I named the waystone Eleanoria in honor of our season 1 base, and I then went to place a painting in my house when this happened. Place a painting here. Oh my goodness, I can select my painting. Are you kidding me? Look at this. Whoa, that's insane. Holy moly. Let's go with this one. And above that, we'll go for this one. That's really cool that I can do that. Wow, that's amazing. I love it. Wow. That was a really cool feature to discover. I liked it a lot. I was at level 30, so I enchanted my helmet and I got protection 3. I felt that I was now ready to progress towards fighting the Ender Dragon. I needed Eyes of Ender, so I teleported out and got ready to mine underground to find Enderman. Just before I did that though, I found a ship out on the sea that intrigued me. I crafted a boat and went out to sea, and when I got into the boat, I ran into a villager and checked out the loot here that contained a lot of oceanic related things. After that, I started heading down and soon found a cave. As I was running around, I kept a close eye on my minimap for Enderman, and as I was doing that, I noticed a golem looking face within an amethyst cluster. I thought that that could be the amethyst golem I was looking for. I quickly mined my way to it, and at first it turned out that I didn't see anything, but soon enough, this happened. I do hear— oh, that's the golem. Okay. Oh no. That was not supposed to happen. Okay, mine away, mine away, mine away. It can hit me through walls. Yes, it can. Woo, wow. A skeleton and crystal golem were not a good combo. I got back up higher and through a little opening was able to defeat the amethyst golem to complete my quest. My reward was some experience. I got back to looking for Enderman, and as I found a spawner. I got an enchantment called Soul Reaper 3, which I tried to research but couldn't find out what it does, and also an enchanted golden apple, which was a perfect find. If anyone knows what the Soul Reaper enchantment does, please let me know in the comments. I ended up luckily finding diamonds while looking for a larger cave, so that was nice, and then a goblin trader spawned in with the perfect trade. It gave me 1 ender pearl for every emerald, and lucky for me, I was carrying 16 emeralds in my backpack. With that, I had all the pearls I needed to find and activate the end portal. I made my way out through the ocean, and as I was heading home, I saw a summoner that was stuck in a mushroom, and this was perfect since I was easily able to defeat it and complete my quest. Its minions then came after me, which was a bit troublesome, but I was able to take them out. I checked the spot where I defeated the summoner, and it dropped an enchanted book, which I picked up, and it ended up being a sharpness 3 book. That was really good. The reward I got was a soul star, which would get me closer to being able to summon the Night Lich boss. Coming back home, I added some extra chests because I wanted to have a place to put my loot and not have to organize all the time. I enchanted my chest plate and leggings, both of which I got fire protection on, but it was better than nothing. I combined the sharpness 3 book with my sword to get sharpness 4 and repaired my bow as well. The next thing I wanted to do is head into the nether to mine for quartz and get levels to get better enchantments on my gear than what I had. I mined out instead of running through the typical lava covered path and came out to this beautiful view that was absolutely breathtaking. I found my first vein of quartz and got straight to mining it up. After that, I ran into a bastion remnant. I entered and found a chest that didn't really have anything. I started getting chased, so I ran out and saw this stuff called the bloodstone, which I just thought was a cool and scary looking block. I ventured onward and collected more quartz. I ended up entering another part of the nether fortress that's close to the portal, which I defeated a whole gang of wither skeletons in, and some more blazes as well, which gave me blaze rods. With 9 blaze rods collected, I headed for home. Upon returning, I crafted up the Eyes of Ender, re-enchanted my chest plate, and unfortunately just got Unbreaking 3. And I crafted more golden apples. I then remembered I had a bunch of enchanted books, so I grabbed all of them. I put Protection 3 on my chest plate, and then Protection 3 on my helmet and chest plate again to make them both Protection 4. I now had full protection other than my leggings, but that was all good. I crafted some more arrows as well, which would be very important, and I headed out. I figured I would tame one of the skeleton horses near my base to make the search faster, and with that I placed a saddle on it and began my search. I realized that skeletal horses do better underwater than normal horses, so that would be very useful, and my Eyes of Ender led back in the direction of spawn. Unfortunately, I ended up needing to head out to the ocean and say goodbye to our horse. I placed him in a safe hole and could come back for him at a later time. As I boated across the ocean, this happened. Oh, it's a stranded villager. Hey, buddy. Oh, no. Is this like a... Oh, no, it's just like a little raft or something. Oh, hey. suev.brand Dimitrov. Okay, hey, buddy. I'll take you with me. How about that? Get in the boat. Perfect. Meanwhile, I'm definitely going to look inside what's inside your chest. Okay, let's go. Let's get this guy to land. I brought the villager with me as I traveled to find land. In the nighttime, I found some and tried to get the villager to stay, but he seemed to prefer the water, which was not my problem. As I traveled through the night, I began to get cold, but I placed a torch, which successfully kept me warm. I ran into another church while on my way and got a few decent things from it, including a feather falling 4 book. On the next day, I got attacked by a couple of spiders and got the achievement Cobweb Entanglement, which stated I had found a spider cave. Before entering, I approached the village near me and took the waystone from it so that I could teleport home whenever I wanted. With that, I headed back to where I was and entered the spider cave. As I looked down, there were a lot of cave spiders in here. I know, fitting, right? I was able to take them out with my powerful bow and bridged over to this wool piece in the center of the cave. I made some shears and broke through the wool quickly to find a spawner, which I instantly broke. I progressed further through the cave, and there were a lot of spiders here to fight off. I made it to a room that was pretty much identical to the one I had been to, and it had a lot of spiders too, one of which almost poisoned in me. I broke the spawner here, and as I progressed, I broke a couple more. I wasn't able to find any loot in here though, so I left mostly disappointed. While in the village, I found some zebras, and better yet, I found out that you can ride them. I tamed one of these guys and then teleported home, grabbed a saddle, and I had a new mount with a really cool looking saddle. I adventured forwards, and soon the Eye of Ender started taking me back from where I came, which meant that I had ran past the stronghold. I followed it backwards for a bit and soon found where the stronghold was. I kept the zebra safe in a little hole, and I should definitely return for both of our horses in the next episode. And also, if you guys have 2 name suggestions for each of the horses, leave them in the comments below and I'll select the top rated comment. I mined down and soon ran into a cave, which wasn't very promising, but I then got the achievement I Spy, which meant that I had found a stronghold, and after mining down a few blocks, I dug straight into it. Now this was an upgraded stronghold, so it was much larger than the typical one. I spent some time exploring around and found a trap chest which had a sharpness 3 sword inside. Using my mini map, I was able to find the actual portal area. I set a waystone here, and after breaking the silverfish spawner, activated the portal. With that, I headed into the end. I bridged over to the island and started mining up. As I was mining, I found this ender ore that dropped ender shards that could be used to make some eternal crystal. I don't know, it was some crazy looking stuff. I got up to the surface, and before fighting the ender dragon, I built a little hut for myself and farmed some endermen for ender pearls. You never know when you might need these, so this was a good thing to do. They ended up picking up a block and breaching my defenses as I was doing this, but I was able to repair it and take them out. Now it was time to fight the Ender Dragon. I started by shooting out all of the crystals, which didn't take me too long, and then I just had to take a bunch of shots at the Ender Dragon. Doing this was fairly manageable because I had a very powerful bow, and with a final shot, I took the Ender Dragon out. I jumped into the portal and returned home victorious. I took a look at my rewards, and one of them was a dragon saddle, which I looked into, and it would allow me to ride an Ender Dragon in the future. There was just a whole process you had to do with growing it as a baby and such. Maybe we can do that in a future episode. I used the extra levels to re-enchant my gear, which took a few tries, but in the end I got protection 3 on my leggings, and efficiency 4 on breaking 3 axe, protection 4 boots, and now I felt like I was ready to get back to adventuring. The first place I headed was the wooden mansion, where I also found my 2 snow leopards. I went inside and I had to be very, very careful. I put everything I might need on my hotbar, and I started by adventuring through some lighter rooms on the bottom, and everything was quite empty and quiet. I wasn't finding any chests or anything, but soon enough I found the first Vindicator, which I was able to take out quickly, and as I progressed further, I found more and more of them. I looted a chest with a diamond hoe and music disc and ran into this room with a bunch of blue wilt. I found this prison room, and when I broke the wall, I found allies. There were a lot of these guys here, 5 in total, and I tamed all of them by giving them random items. This was a mistake because I had way too many things following me around, but you know what, it is what it is. I continued making my way through the different rooms and looting chests, but my purpose of being here was really just to defeat the evokers and obtain totems of undying. With that in mind, I searched for the stairs to the 2nd floor as I fought through Vindicators, but then something really bad happened. It's crazy. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. What was that? How did that just happen? A bunch of Vindicators just dropped on my head and were all burning. So it seems like lava might have caused a fire in the mansion. Now that I had space on the Vindicators, I was able to take them out, but that was not something that I wanted to happen again. They continued falling from the same hole, and I realized that the mansion was burning at a very fast rate. I had to stop the fire immediately if I still wanted to defeat some evokers here. And as I was building up, I faced one of them that I took out, but its Vex knocked me down and put me in a pretty dangerous situation. I got to clearing out the fire as soon as I could, which was not easy because I still had mobs chasing me and knocking me down. I found another evoker on the 2nd floor that I quickly defeated, and this gave me my first totem of undying. It also dropped this Elunite shard that looked like amethyst but was different and could be used to craft some interesting items. I still needed to remove the burning, but running into mobs made it difficult. Eventually I was able to cool everything off and and defeated some more evokers. I left with a total of 6 totems of undying, one of which I had equipped in a slot for charms, and I was really happy with that. As I traveled through a wooded Badlands biome, I saw an iguana, which was cool, and shortly after I ran into this town that gave me the achievement Ye Haunted, which said I had entered a ghost town. That was not very comforting, so I carefully looked around. These buildings had a cool western theme, and the loot seemed to mostly be empty. I did, however, find a cowboy hat. Woo! I just got myself a cowboy hat. Can I put it on there? No, I can't. Yeah, there's a new sheriff in town. All right there. Yeah, I'm sorry you guys had to hear that. What I didn't expect is I saw a being floating around in this town, and as I got closer, I found out it was a ghost villager. I tried to interact with it, but nothing happened, and it flew through the walls. I'm not sure what the story behind this villager was, but it was a pretty sad sight seeing it float around on its own. I continued my adventures, and on the morning of the next day, I found this very interesting village that definitely would have some enemies on the inside. There was also another ghost town beside it, but I didn't loot it because I had just seen one. I carefully approached the other village while on the lookout for any enemies, and sure enough, these weird husks started approaching me from all directions. I got the achievement Rusted Root, which said I had entered into a bandit village. I quickly ran to break the spawner in the center and defeated the hoglin and husk with it. I entered one of the houses here, and it seemed pretty normal. As I got to the top, I found a chest that had some gold in it, which was nice. I pearled over to another tower nearby and defeated the watchguard on the inside. I was out of arrows at this point, so I needed to stay careful. I looted each of the towers, which had some ores, and with that, continued onwards. As I was traveling, I found another really cool cave opening that I thought I would show. I saw these things running around that were called scuttlers, and I took one out, which dropped a scuttler tail, and this can be used to make a poison antidote. On the next day, I found this interesting looking structure. On the inside, there was a spawner and these mushroom guys who walked really slowly but took no knockback, so I needed to be really careful and walk backwards as I fought them. I broke the spawner and headed upwards. There was another mushroom cow awaiting me, which I took out and ventured forward to find another spawner and a chest with mediocre loot. The mushrooms came at me in groups, but given that I stuck to my game plan, I was able to take them out safely. I found another spawner and chest that had some slightly better loot and continued up another ladder. This seemed to be the top of the tower, and I was ambushed by some mushrooms that I took out. These guys dropped me 3 gilded blackstone shards, which would get me 3/4 of the way to summoning the blackstone golem boss, which I do later in the video, and it's quite a scary boss. I looted the chest up here and got a bunch of apples, ender pearls, and an unknown map, which was a bit suspicious, but maybe I would adventure over there later. I looted the barrels on this floor and checked out the top of the building before leaving. I ran up to a friendly looking home that had a fisherman inside. The barrels were filled with decent loot, but as I got up to the top, the chest here had a protection to knockback to Infinity Book, which was really good. I grabbed that and continued on with my travels in search of a challenge. And I got exactly that when I ran into this huge castle structure. I got an achievement saying I had located something called a Bastille. I ran around the corner and found an entrance, on the other side of which was a Vindicator type mob with an even scarier look. The mobs did not let up, and I was literally approached from all angles. I knew my gear could hold up, but I ran out to recover and take the mobs out more manageably. These pillagers had some really good aim, and it was hard to keep up with them while multiple were shooting at me. I ate a golden apple and charged forward. I continued rushing at each of the mobs until I was able to defeat all of the ones that were chasing me. I placed an anvil down and put infinity on my bow because I knew I would need to take a lot of shots if I wanted to take this castle down. Finally, I entered back inside and instantly had a witch drop a poison potion on me while getting attacked by other mobs. Heavy damage was not going to be avoidable within this castle. castle. I got to a place where I could loot one of the chests here, and the loot was pretty average. I decided I would clear the mobs out before looting anymore. I ran through an area with a few tents and had to defeat more pillagers that were in my way. I then ran through to an area with a couple of prison cells that I opened, and after defeating another one of these knights, I saw that on the inside there were two golems. One of them was called the Terminator, and it looked different than the typical type of iron golem, and then the other one was called Programmed Neutralization Technology. This thing instantly went to work, and it was powerful. It was flinging the pillagers around like they were thin air, and I made sure to repair it to keep it alive. Now everything seemed fine, but when I entered a fenced-in area, I got approached by melee mobs from all directions, and they got me down to 1 heart as I tried to get away. Fortunately, I was able to build out, but that was close to using up my first totem of undying. I entered a building, and after making my way up to the 2nd floor, I found chests that gave me some farm supplies. I fought off more mobs, and they seemed to be never ending. My gear was now close to being broken, but a lot of chests were now free to loot. The loot didn't seem to get any better though, which was a bit disappointing. I found some stairs and made my way up to a watchtower. I can see that there were mobs still around the castle and took some out with my bow. And as I was scouting for more enemies, I heard a pillager behind me that just about knocked me off the tower, but I blocked him off in time. I walked around the top of the tower, defeating pillagers for a bit more, but there didn't seem to be any loot here. This was definitely an interesting structure and a challenge to fight through, but I figured it was now time to return home and repair my gear. As I was running to find a waystone, I ran into a horse stable and tamed a horse so that I could get back quicker. My journey on this horse continued on into the next day, and while I wanted to be back home, I was tempted with more adventure when I ran into these huge mushrooms. I tied my horse to a fence post and approached this area. There were houses here, and on the inside I found some great loot. One of the items I found was a galaxy starfish, which can be used to make aquatic astral stew, which seemed interesting, so I grabbed it. I headed into the building in the center and broke a spawner. I was approached by multiple mushrooms right away, and I had to fight them off with care. As I made my way through, I found this to be a full living room. The mushrooms were living well. I noticed that in this campfire section there was a mushroom, which I took out, and there were a bunch of campfires and coal to collect here. I made it up to the next floor and was this time shot by a mushroom with a crossbow. I looted the barrel here and got a matrix fish, which as it turns out can be used to make an end crystal if you get 2 of them, so that was really good. As I made my way outside, I was attacked by a small raid, and when I took it out, I got a raid horn, which I'm not sure what it does, but it looked cool. I started making my way up the center mushroom, where I was attacked by some pretty strong mushroom jousters, and when I made it, I took out a spawner and mushroom and found a chest with a little bit of iron as well as a gold block that had a sign saying, "If you walk with fungus, you'll never be out of spores." I wasn't sure if this was a riddle or what it meant, so I just grabbed the golden block and found this little room with some ores before carrying on. My helmet was hits away from breaking, so I took it off at this point, but I couldn't help to adventure more when I found a little witch encampment. I stayed at a distance while fighting the witches off, and witches are definitely one of my least favorite mobs in Minecraft. I looted the chests here, and they had a bunch of witch-like loot, potion supplies and such, but they also contained a witch hat, which I actually needed because my helmet was out of durability, so I was happy to become a witch for now. I found this lightning bug in a bottle, which was a very shocking light source to find. I'm so sorry about that. I continued forwards, and nope, I did not return home. Instead, I found some kind of a ruin, which I checked out, and it had nothing really. In the night, though, I found these 2 insanely big structures. I was not fit to adventure with the state that my gear was in, though. I checked to see if I could make a waystone, and sure enough, it ended up being that I had all of the materials needed to craft one. All I needed was a couple of pieces of flint, which I dug up, and one of the unique variants of stone, like andesite, which I found right next to me. With that, I crafted myself a waystone and finally returned home. I repaired my bow and only had 3 diamonds, so I repaired everything except my helmet for now. I returned back to the Colosseum I found and headed inside. I dug in, and it turned out that this thing was filled with water, which I don't believe is a normal thing. I started getting shot at by a skeleton on the outskirts, and then got attacked by a skeleton on a phantom that made me levitate and did a lot of damage. The phantom had a crazy amount of health because I kept taking shots at it and it was not dying. Eventually I took it out and then noticed that the skeleton was in the water below me. I had a height advantage and was able to safely take shots at it, and I took it out and saw that it dropped diamonds, so I went down to pick them up and it turned out to be 9. This was the perfect chance for me to return home and repair my helmet. I then returned back to the Coliseum and fought more of the skeletons on the outskirts in hopes of getting more loot. They still had dangerous arrows, so I had to be careful, but with my full set of diamond gear equipped, I stayed safe and took them all out. As I explored through the rest of this Coliseum though, I didn't really find anything else except for the spawner in the middle. I waited into the nighttime to see if the Phantom Rider would spawn again, but even though I waited here for a few minutes, nothing happened. So I broke the spawner and continued on to adventure through the large towers I had seen. These were large and looked intimidating. I got the achievement Guns N' Roses, which said I had found the Thornborn Towers. I entered into one of the towers, and the moment I jumped down, I was attacked by a dangerous looking skeleton. Even though I went down, however, I was attacked by more of them. I took a couple of them out and broke the spawner here, and then made a run for it so I could block the rest off. I took them out from the little trap I set up, and then headed up to the next floor. I was faced with another spawner that I broke immediately, and then defeated a skeleton that approached me, but realized that I needed to be careful with my gear because it could break soon. I got some loot, which consisted of iron and slime balls, and moving on to the next floor, I found a small garden. I then progressed through a typical spawner area and made it to one of the top layers where I was faced with a flood of skeletons. There were a lot of beehives in this area, which I made sure not to anger, and I made it up to the next floor, which had a chest full of iron and a diamond that I was really happy about. I then got to the balcony area where I noticed the skeletons were stronger. I even went further up and went outside to be faced with a bunch of skeletons on phantoms shooting at me. I tried to fight back, but had to retreat when their shots kept on hitting. My armor was very close to breaking, but I didn't want to leave, which gave me the idea to craft an anvil and repair it right here. This worked really well, and I was now in the clear to keep progressing. I made it to the structure that had phantoms and was knocked around. I sheltered myself on the staircase though, and was able to take them out from here. I looted the chest here and got 10 diamonds, name tags, and an enchanted book. I got to another tower that also had the phantom spawner and got more great loot from there. I looted another chest which gave me a bunch of iron, and used an ender pearl to get to another tower which I cleared out and got a ton more iron from. With all of the towers looted and explored, I placed a water bucket down and tried to teleport home on my horse, but this did not work and glitched the game. I tried teleporting with the horse on a lead, but that didn't work, and I tried placing it in a boat, but that didn't work either. Unfortunately, the only way to bring the horse back home would be to manually transport it, and at the time, I did not have much time to work on doing that. So I decided I would leave the horse there for the time being. Now, from my adventures, I had collected 4 gilded blackstone shards. This meant that I could now summon the blackstone golem boss. All I had to do was build its altar, which just consisted of blackstone, so building it would be easy enough. And in search of blackstone, I entered the nether. It wasn't long before I found a little piglin hideout made out of blackstone, which was great. I mined up all of the blackstone that I needed, and as I was doing that, I started getting shot at by some piglins that I took out. I noticed that there was a little hidden compartment with hoglins inside that I shot at, and I took them all out. I noticed that on the inside there were golden blocks. After that, I went down and started looting what was here. I instantly got rammed by a hoglin, but survived that, and the chest here had diamond gear, including leggings with mending, which was a great find. I picked up another golden block and then found a place to set up the altar. I pressed visualize in my guidebook, which outlined all of the blocks I needed to place, so it was a lot easier to do. Now I thought I had done it. I thought I built out the ritual space, but when I went to place the shards, they got thrown instead. I didn't think much of it and threw 3 of them total, but that's when I realized that something was off and found out that they need to be placed into specific stone holders, not just black stone. These can be crafted using a stone cutter, so that wasn't a problem. but I now needed to regain the shards that I had lost. I tried fighting piglins, hoping they would drop some, and while doing that, I jumped into another underground area of the piglin hideout. I was met with a bunch of blazes, and fighting them all off at once was pretty overwhelming, but thanks to my gear, I was able to take them out. I looted the chest down here, which just had some basic gold loot, and then collected the golden blocks. I attacked more piglins to find the shards I needed, but as I was running back from a group of them, I fell right into a hole and they all jumped on me. I was in huge trouble and chugged down golden apples to try and survive. To my joy, I was fortunately able to get up to the high ground and took out the piglin group. I defeated more of these guys, but wasn't getting the luck I needed with the shards. I found another hidden sector, which I also cleared out, and entered to find gold blocks and ancient debris. I mined everything out and left 2 pieces of ancient debris richer. As I left this area, I saw this crazy looking piglin mob and went up close to find out what it was called, which was very risky, but I found out it was called a piglin beast. I bowed at it from a range, and given its speed, was able to take it out. It turned out that this was a part of my quest book, so that was just another quest done. And my rewards were a golden apple and a block of gold. As I traveled, I saw this crazy mob in the distance, which looked really, really cool. And then as I was running around, this happened. Oh my. Holy moly. Look at that, it explodes. Jeez. Ooh, that gave me a little heart attack. Oh man. Okay, wow. Oh, that was intense. Running into these Provo plants or even touching them was an absolute no-go. I found a temple in the lava, which I bridged to, and it was the same as the one I had found in the jungle previously. I broke through to the chests and got a netherite scrap, which was unexpected. For some reason, I had this sudden urge to use my guidebook to learn more about the gilded blackstone shard. And I found out that they can be gotten from piglin bartering, which made me realize I could have gotten them easily this whole time. Now, it wasn't all to waste though, because the other chest here had a bunch of gold, and with all of that looted, I went out to search for a piglin to trade with. I found one soon enough, and using the gold I had looted, I had a long supply for trading. The first item it dropped was this soul compost, then blue weeping obsidian, which was actually pretty cool, and it then dropped a shard, which was great. I now just needed one more, which was taking some time, and I accidentally gave it my boots during that time. Soon, it finally dropped the last shard, and I unfortunately had to defeat it to get my boots back. Now I was ready to summon the Blackstone Golem, but I needed to repair my gear and reorganize myself before starting the fight. I headed back for home, and this was a long journey. I ran into this place while traveling, which was interesting, and had a couple of wither skulls that I scooped up. As I approached the nether portal, I ran into this very, very stellar altar with a statue in the center. When I right-clicked it, it gave me the message that I needed 4 glowstone to set my respawn point here. I picked it up, and hopefully I can use this somehow in the future, without dying, that is. I made it home by the morning of the next day, and placed our newly found statue outside as a warning to any monsters that would approach. I repaired my gear and created the blackstone holders I needed. I was now ready to fight the Blackstone Golem. I traveled back to the altar that I had previously built, and soon found it. I then had to replace the outer blocks with the new holders. I placed 2 of the shards, but before continuing, I made sure to set up my inventory fully. Once I was done with that, I was ready to fight the Blackstone Golem. Oh, something's happening. Something is happening. Oh, there it is. Blackstone Golem. Okay, wait, I don't have as much space as I would like here. I'm not able to hit it yet. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh my God. Holy moly, I did not expect that. Okay, I cannot let it get close to me. I have got to run. Oh my goodness. Okay, if it gets close to me, it might just 2-shot or 1-shot me. So I would rather run far away. Oh my goodness. Okay, keep taking shots. It's stuck. It's stuck. Oh, wait, it's not stuck. Oh, it's going faster. Oh, it's going faster. Oh, good thing I have space here. I have a good sight on it. Okay, it's missing me. It is really fast. My boat. Oh, I have a zombie on me now. Oh no. Okay, I have gone too far to let it hit me. Oh man. Come on, come on, come on. Yes. I took out the mini golems, and with that, I had defeated the black stone golem. I got approached by these zombies called the Burned and took them out, but one of them managed to set me on fire. I checked my rewards and saw that I got a gilded netherite fragment that could upgrade my netherite gear, and a piece of ancient debris, as well as a netherite scrap. I collected my quest rewards, which were several more netherite fragments, an enchanted golden apple, and this crate, which I opened and got a lava bucket, some black stone, and a black stone golem heart, which read, "Replace your own heart with it." I did, and it ended up giving me 2 extra hearts with an effect called a black stone, which was actually a really nice perk. Now, the next boss that I wanted to defeat was the Nether Gauntlet. This boss ended up being insanely strong. Its altar was located underground in rare structures, so I began my search for it. Now, on this day, I played around with my shader settings and made the brightness a lot higher in the Nether. Let me know what you guys think about this, but it made it a lot easier for me to see, which also makes it easier for you guys to see, so I thought it might be more enjoyable, but I'm curious as to what your thoughts are. Before fighting the Nether Gauntlet, I had to prepare myself, so I headed back for home. I made it back by the next day, and my game was brighter here too, so again, I'm curious as to what you guys think, and am open to suggestions. Anyways, now that I was back home, I crafted up some brewing stands and placed these on the empty space I had created before. The brewing HUD showed all the different kind of potions that can be made, which was useful. I made some bottles, filled them with water, and brewed up some fire resistance potions for 8 minutes. And with a full set of diamond gear, golden apples, and fire resistance potions, I headed into the Nether to search for the Nether Gauntlet's altar. I found this structure in the lava, which turned out to be a mine shaft, so I didn't really want to deal with it, and I've gotten lost in these one too many times. As I traveled, I ended up running through this really cool biome called the Sulfuric Bone Reef. This biome looked like no other biome I had ever seen before, and I was definitely astonished by it. I traveled through another very cool, very colorful biome where I was attacked by jungle skeletons. I ran through this cool biome called the Weeping Mire as well. And on day 91, I found this seemingly hoglin village, and they were aggressive towards me, so I had to take them out. It was very convenient that I was on the top of a tower because it let me rain shots down onto them from above. I checked inside one of the houses here, and it seemed to have blood and a chainsaw on the floor without any actual loot. It was pretty disturbing. I entered another house here, and it was just as empty. However, I was very pleasantly surprised when I came across something else. Oh, it's actually a village. Oh my goodness, it's a waystone. Are you kidding me? It's a waystone. Oh man. Taking this with me. Nice. This meant that whenever I would find the Nether Gauntlet altar, I would be able to return home with ease and resituate. And as you'll see later, this waystone is very important. I adventured through a bastion remnant for a bit, where I found myself a golden apple and some smoked ham. I then found this little hut where I went inside and found a villager sleeping on the bed, which is illegal in the Nether, but that's besides the point. There was a chest right here with apples, and I could use those to turn them into golden ones. There was also a bunch of random wood starter gear. Right besides this villager's home, I found a mushroom biome, which must be a rare addition to this pack because I've never seen one in the Nether before. I ran through many different types of mushrooms and came up to the large mushrooms to get a closer look. There was a wither skeleton spawner here, which I cleared out, and the double chest inside had some enchanted gear as well as a diamond, which was nice. I came up to this really cool blue part of the mushroom biome that contrasted with the red, and I had never seen anything like this before. I then found some giant mold here, which was absolutely disgusting. After exploring that, I ran out, still in search of the Nether Gauntlet's altar, and eventually I ran into this structure, which I thought could just be a bastion remnant, but I pearled in and checked what's inside. Oh, this is it! Oh my goodness, I found it. Oh, as I have some smoked ham, that's pretty good. I cannot believe I found this. This took so long. Oh, I'm so happy. Before fighting the boss, I placed my waystone and returned home. I cleared out my inventory and harvested carrots so that I could make a stack of golden carrots as my new food source. Food would actually be really important in this fight so that I could stay saturated and keep my health regenerating. I made an extra shield as well, and with that, I had everything ready to fight the Nether Gauntlet. So I went back into the altar room and went for it. It's time for this fight. Let's load up on fire resistance. I'm also going to use this uncraftable potion and break this. Okay. It seems like my bow is not working. Oh, okay. There we go. Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go. Oh my goodness. Dealing damage to the gauntlet was difficult because it only gives you small periods of time to attack it. Timing my hits well, I was able to get 2 good hits off on it. After that though, the fight started getting more challenging and it started getting more hits on me. It also started using a laser beam to attack from range, which I had to run from to avoid. However, running away from the gauntlet started to become more and more difficult because it kept making more holes in the ground. I got to half health and then it went really high in the sky to the point where I didn't know where it was until it started laser beaming me from up above. This fight was getting harder and harder, and I was really struggling to get damage onto the gauntlet. And then all of a sudden, this happened. What is going on? This is not supposed to happen. This is not supposed to happen. How am I supposed to fight it? Oh my goodness. This is really bad for me. Oh my god. Oh my god. I quickly equipped another totem, but things only got worse. I ate an enchanted golden apple to make things more manageable, but all of a sudden, I had eyes pop up on my screen and I got blinded. Not only that, but my boots were broken and I hadn't realized that up until now. I tried to get hits on the gauntlet, but it wouldn't take damage and was moving at a very quick pace. I was in huge danger now and was getting really close to dying. This fight was much more difficult than I could have possibly imagined, and in a saving grace, I decided I would teleport home using the Waystone, where I would hopefully have time to get new gear and jump back into the fight so that the gauntlet wouldn't regenerate all of its health. I had diamond boots in my backpack that I equipped and grabbed the diamond off my item frame to repair my chest plate. I quickly headed back into the altar room, hoping the gauntlet wouldn't regenerate its health, but it went back to 3/4 of its total health. It spared no time in attacking me once more, and I still found it very difficult to land hits on it. I hit it once, and then again, and I used my shield to block off its beam and pearled away. The gauntlet beamed me into a hole though and broke my shield and helmet. There was just no way I could defeat it like this. I made a run for my Waystone in a panic, and thankfully I was barely able to get home in time. My gear was all busted up, and honestly, I was just going to quit at this point. However, my conscience wouldn't allow me to do that. I decided I would go mining and repair all of my gear so that I could fight the gauntlet once more. I mined through to day 94 and decided to keep my brightness on, so let me know what you think about that. I repaired my existing pieces of gear and needed to enchant a new helmet, so I wanted to head into the Nether to mine quartz for levels. However, I not so smartly teleported to the Waystone I had near the boss without thinking, and I didn't have the experience to teleport back. Fortunately though, I was able to mine out and get away. I mined quartz in the Nether for a while, and it took me until the next day to get level 30. I spent time getting to level 36 just in case I needed to re-enchant the helmet, and headed back for home. I found these really cool crystal shards, and there was obsidian here, meaning I could mine some up and make a portal back to the overworld. The portal landed me in a cave where I started taking a lot of damage from mobs, including a zombie miner with a diamond pickaxe who dropped a diamond on death. And while down here, I ended up finding this really cool area. Wow, look at this. Block of alurite. This stuff is crazy. This looks so cool. I then hunted for Enderman, who gave me the ender pearl I needed to create a Waystone and head home. The first enchant I got on my helmet was okay, and same with a pair of extra boots. I re-enchanted them and got blast protection, which would be pretty useful in this fight. I had a netherite ingot as well, which I used to upgrade my leggings, and added the gilded shard on them as well to upgrade them further. I made an anvil as well, so I would be able to repair my gear during the fight if I needed to, and I headed in to fight the Nether Gauntlet once more. I started off the fight very confident. Already knowing how it attacks, I aimed straight at it and took shots. Again though, hitting it was no easy feat, not to mention it had regenerated to full health by now. It even redirected an arrow at me, but after I was able to find an opening to hit it twice. However, as it charged its laser, it did an insane amount of damage and popped another one of my totems of undying. Once again, I put a new one on and continued running. I got a few hits in, which was really good, and continued on the momentum, hitting 2 more times and another time, and I was feeling good, but that didn't mean that dodging its attacks was any easier. It soon hit me with a very powerful strike, taking out half my health, and I was able to hit it twice afterwards again. It was now in the stage where it could blind me and slow me down, and this was the phase that I had issues with previously. The truth is that I didn't know I should be bowing it down during this phase, so most of the time I couldn't get hits on it, and soon my lack of momentum started to show. It got more and more hits on me without me doing any damage in return. Things were not going my way. It hit me twice in a row to get me to half a heart, but thankfully it didn't trigger my totem of undying. I got another hit on it and then one more, which was good progress, but then, well, I'll just let the gameplay speak for itself. Oh my god, dude. My helmet's gonna break. Dude, I cannot hit it. I'm telling you, man, it's impossible. My helmet has broken. Okay, I hit it again. I hurry to mine through the wall and try to repair my gear, but it instantly knocked out all of my health. I was down to 1 totem of undying. I repaired my chest plate, which was mostly useless by this point as my helmet and boots were both broken, and worse yet, the gauntlet healed back up to full health. I quickly ran for the waystone and headed home, but I was in shock. I need to bring 2 sets of armor. I need to bring 2 sets of armor. It's impossible. I need to go mining again. Oh my god. Okay, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm getting my diamonds. I'm getting my 2 sets of armor, and I'm coming back, and I'm defeating this boss, okay? I will not quit. Here I already have leggings, so I don't need another pair of those. I don't need that many more diamonds. In fact, all I need is 7 more diamonds for a chest plate. That's it. I repaired my gear and headed down to mine again. I was in a rush because I did not have much more time to defeat the Nether Gauntlet, but I was actually getting some decent luck with diamonds now. I non-stop mined into day 98 at a record pace of getting diamonds for myself, and I returned home with 36. With that, I went to the Nether and mined quartz for levels. I had to continue into day 99 and then return home to enchant my gear. The enchants were mostly good enough, but I needed to head back into the Nether one more time to make sure I was well enchanted. I returned with 36 levels and re-enchanted my gear. I had Unbreaking on mostly all my pieces, and they almost all had a good version of protection on them. As much as I wanted to jump right into the fight, I couldn't yet, because I needed to stock back up on totems of undying. I remembered a woodland mansion I had found before, and after searching on my map, I found exactly where it was. I ran over to it and arrived on day 100. Found the mansion. I barely have any time left. Let's head in here, defeat some evokers, and get out. For the evokers, we'll have to go to the 2nd floor right away, so I'll just break in right here. All right, let's get it. Just gonna take 2 shots, or 3, 2 shots. There we go. There we go, number 1. I defeated another one, but now I had a ton of Vexes flying at me, and it was very difficult to handle them all at once. So much so that I easily could die while doing this. I definitely should have ran away at this point, but I defeated another evoker, and my gear was getting dangerously low from the Vexes. I had been doing mostly okay up until this point, but when I ran into some Vindicators as well, I was in trouble. Goodness gracious. These are crazy, man. This is crazy. Oh my god, man. Even though I tried to defeat them all, they got me to half health, and they kept on coming. It was extremely overwhelming. Another Totem of Undying got used. This was insane. I headed outside, defeating the Vexes, but when I went back in, things got worse. Oh my god, dude. I once again had to pause the game and reboot to try to save myself. That's how I survive. That's how I survive, baby. That's how I survive, baby. That's how I do it. My helmet broke and I had to leave. I only had 2 totems. This trip was a complete failure. I went home and repaired some gear. I used my potions of enchanting and repaired another piece and headed back to the mansion with a full set of fresh gear. This was day 101, but in Minecraft time, it was technically still day 100 since Minecraft time starts with day 0. So I don't care. I'm counting this as me having one more day. I reset all of the mobs in the mansion by heading far out and then coming back. And after that, I went inside, defeated 2 evokers, and left with 4 totems of undying total. I was in a rush. I teleported home and then wanted to quickly get levels for repair in the nether by teleporting to the boss waystone. This was a risky move, but I got away, and this was just a bad idea. I didn't want to lose the easy access to the boss, so I placed the waystone back down and went through the portal to find quartz. I didn't need many levels, so at 16 I returned home, repaired my boots and chestplate, and I made an iron helmet, enchanted it with whatever I could, and that would have to do for my second set of armor. With that, I drank a fire resistance potion and headed in for the fight. It's time. This is my last opportunity to defeat this boss. Where are you, buddy? Gonna hit it in the eye. Oh yeah. This time I decided I would shoot at the nether gauntlet way more, and this made the fight 10 times easier. My bow hits did so much damage, and it made it easier to prevent the boss from getting close to me. The gauntlet did, however, land a strong laser beam on me, and then exploded me, getting my health dangerously low. Continuing on with melee hits and shots, I built momentum and started getting really close to getting the gauntlet down. It was still getting some explosive hits on me, but it wasn't stacking damage as it did before. I had to carry blocks to travel by this point because of how much the floor was broken, and with 2 more shots, I was able to finally take it out just on the edge of day 101 ending. It dropped a few pieces of ancient debris around it. I got some gilded blackstone shards as a reward, and that was it. And on that note, everybody, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.